Welcome to our Christmas crafts. The first craft that we're going to do today is called a tree twirler. So we thought it was only appropriate to do our first craft to be a tree. So you can see I have a finished example over here. It's kind of like a mobile, but it's called a tree twirler. And so what we'll go do is we'll go over our supplies and then we'll get started. So what we'll want to go ahead and do first is you'll need a plate. You'll need some string, yarn, ribbon, anything will work. Something to make circles with, if it be cups, lids, jars, anything like that. You'll need a pencil, a hole punch, scissors, as well as paper. If you don't have paper, you can also use foam. Either or works fine. I had some foam laying around, but paper works just as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to grab our plate. So the first thing you want to do with your plate is go ahead and paint it whatever color you want. I went ahead and painted mine green and let it dry. I'm going to show you with the white example, but make sure you paint it whatever color you want first and let it dry. Then we're going to go ahead and cut a spiral out of it. It's kind of like making a snail. So you start on just one end, and what you're going to do is cut, 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 but keep rotating the plate so you're always cutting in circles. Now the size of your branches for your tree depends on how big you cut right here. So obviously the thicker pieces you cut, you're not going to have as long as a tree, or if you do it thinner, you'll have some more length to it. So really you can kind of play around. My first one I did really long, and this one I'm doing a little bit thicker, so this one won't be as long as the example, but that's what's fun about this, is you can completely customize it to be whatever you want. And then once we get to the end here, it's very important not to cut this little tip off, and you'll see that that's the part we're going to hang from. So you should have this little curly snail looking plate, and then we're going to take that middle piece and we're going to go ahead and hole punch it right in the middle. If you don't have a hole punch, just use your pencil and poke a hole. This is what we're going to hang the mobile with. And so after we punch our hole, we're going to go ahead and use the scissors if you don't have a hole punch, and then we're going to go ahead and grab our string, cut it to length. Same thing is, however long you want it, depending on where you're going to hang it up. And then after you cut your piece of string, yarn, or ribbon, whatever you choose to use, then we're going to go ahead and thread that through this top hole. And really all we need to do is, once we thread it through the hole, just need to tie a knot. That just allows it to be secure. You can put it on a hook, you could hang it on the tree. This way, it's versatile. Basically, you can hang it everywhere you like. And if you don't like this hang, you can always cut it off later. So just a simple knot will be easy for us to start with. Let me go ahead and finish this up. And then once you have this, then this is great too to do this first, because you can always hold it and kind of pick it up and look at it. So you can kind of see that it's got its boinginess. Everyone's is going to be a little bit different. Now that we have that, we're going to grab our hole punch. If you don't have one, use the scissors. And you kind of want to open it up, and this is where all of our ornaments are going to go. I like to start at the top and basically go through just randomly and poke some holes through where I think some ornaments will best fit. I found that having it open and extended really shows you where they're going to hang. If you have it just laying flat on the ground, it's kind of hard to see. So lift it up and make sure you allow it to be crinkly, and then go ahead and poke your holes in. And you can always go back on my first one, I ended up going and adding a few more holes back because I wanted more ornaments. I loved how it looked after. So I started with just a good balance and then went back and added a bunch more. All right, let me just finish up with these last ones. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take our paper. Like I said, I used foam, but then what we're going to do is we're going to cut circles out. Really, you could cut any shape you'd like. I went ahead and went with circles just so they look like round ornaments. So what we're going to go ahead and do is take whatever you have to draw your circles, go ahead and trace that with your pen or pencil. And, different sizes are great for this. Keep it interesting is my motto. And so, definitely make some bigger ones, smaller ones, like a traditional tree as well. Smaller circles are going to kind of fit better at the top of the tree, where the larger ones are going to kind of fit better at the bottom. So once we go ahead and get your circles, you're going to go ahead and just cut those out, as many as you'd like. I went ahead and already cut some of my foam ones out, but I wanted to show you an example. Just go ahead and cut them out. And then once you have them cut out, same process, you're going to go ahead and hole punch it. If you don't have a hole punch, go ahead and poke it with your pencil or scissors. And then what we're going to do is go back to our string or yarn, and you're going to cut little strips. Now these strips are important on the sides because depending on where you hang your ornament depends on how long the string needs to be. So with these big ornaments, I made my strings a little bit longer because they're going to be my bottom ones, so they're going to be really hanging really well. I will probably do a little bit shorter strings for the smaller circles as well as closer to the top. But you'll kind of base that, and if you don't like it, you can always take it off and resize it. So that's no big deal. This is completely customizable, however you want it to hang. Here's my first one, you can kind of see. So mine doesn't hang off too much. That's just personal preference. I'm going to go ahead and do a smaller one so you can see just a little bit of difference from what that looks like. And then two, the other side of it is, because I'm using foam compared to paper, mine weigh a little bit more, so it's going to weigh my tree down to where it's going to be a little bit more open. And so once we go ahead and get these tied, it will start to weigh out and balance, but you'll kind of notice that as you're putting ornaments on it, is that it may start to lean to one side, or you may feel like it's too heavy where it's going to break the plate, but it just, you know, getting the other ones on will help. So you can kind of, you can already see it, mine has stretched out a little bit more. And I'll show you a little bit better example towards the end. So we're just going to keep repeating the process, and then what we're going to do is just go ahead, cut your circles, put the hole in, go ahead and put them on your plate until you're all done, as many as you'd like, and then you'll have your finished piece. Now what's really kind of fun about these too is with all your little circle ornaments, you can write names on them, you can write your Christmas list, whatever you'd like, or just have it for fun as a mobile. Thank you so much for joining us.